Hey guys, and welcome back to the Chaotic Kids channel, where I, Michelle, document my life here on YouTube as I try to become a full-time author while also traverse the world with multiple personalities. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around, but today we are going to be talking about the book that I finished, which is The Amazing Secret of Purgatory, and we're going to do some reflections on it, and we are going to then talk about the next book I'm reading, which is going to be The Three Ordinary Voices of God. So, I say let's just jump into it, shall we? Hey guys, today is March 1st. I just wanted to come on and say that I finished this book. This is the second book that I finished this year. It is called The Amazing Secret of Purgatory. This is a book by Sister Emmanuel, an interview with Maria Sema. There was a lot of interesting things about Purgatory. The reason I bought this book or got this book is because my mom had passed away. My mom had passed away 3 years ago. And I remember always wondering what happened to us after Purgatory. I had a local Catholic shop that I went to every day. I either bought it or my friend bought it for me and then gave it to me. Can't honestly remember how I got it. But it was really nice just to see how things kind of happen, Or not necessarily see things, but kind of hear how it goes. Because Purgatory, I had thought that Purgatory was basically us living on Earth. Like, I heard that somewhere, like, Purgatory is us living on Earth and how we live our lives. Because, they're struggling and stuff like that. But that's not necessarily the facts about Purgatory. Purgatory is more a place for people to cleanse their soul before they go to heaven. And kind of do more repenting and stuff. But also, like, people in Purgatory can't necessarily do the things that they need to do to heal, if that makes sense. Like, they need our help as living people to move on, like with saying masses, saying prayers, and doing stuff like that, because otherwise they're just, I don't know how to put it, like, they're just there forever, if that makes sense. Now, there are some people who go to hell and stuff, some that go up to heaven right away. It just depends on, like, how they end their life, kind of thing. And yeah, it's really how you end your life is how I took it. Like, and it just, that's how it is, like how you end your life, because there's a lot of like, there's a lot of growing in humanity, so that's how it's affected. But yeah, I found this all really interesting. I also learned there are 4 different saints who had the ability to see spirits, as Maria Sema did. But I will say Maria Sema is not a saint. She's just somebody who saw them. Never actually got confirmation, or was like, the church never acknowledged her and like said like, yes, she did it. But I will say the 4 saints are, hold on, let me get my notes out real quick. So there's Saint Padre Pio, there's Saint Therese, the Child of Jesus, Saint Faustine, and Saint Francis de Sales. And Saint Therese has a story which is called The Story of a Soul, which I want to read. And then Saint Faustina has a diary called Divine Mercy in My Soul. Both of those books I would like to buy before I start their picture books. I'm wanting to start St. Therese's picture book soon, because, like, there's so many people in my life have been like, oh, you should do like, they know I'm a writer, so they're like, oh, you should do St. Therese, the Little Flower, which is the same person. But yeah, I just find it super interesting. I want to read their books before I actually do their picture books, just because then I can understand it more. Like, I'm okay with doing a lot of research on YouTube, but I also need to, like, kind of understand them in their own writing, if that makes sense. Excuse me. But yeah, I want to do those books. I found this really interesting book, and I will also say, like, when I was reading this book, which I was reading it only for a week, but I was talking to my sister and my grandma as I was doing it, and they like, I would like to read this book because like grandma is 78. I'm sure she's wondering what happens to her when she goes into purgatory and stuff. But my sister also is just interested to know what happens in purgatory. She never understood it. So yeah, I'm gonna buy like a couple more copies of this. I think I've decided I'm gonna buy 4 copies of this book and give it to people. I might buy more. I think they're only like, I don't know how many. I think it's only like $7 or $8 to buy the book. I think, and I would love to buy a bulk stock and just have it and like have it around me. I don't have that kind of money though, so I'm gonna buy like 4 or 5 copies. I'm gonna give one to my grandma, give one to my sister, and then put 1 copy in each of the churches that I usually go and see. But yeah, found that really interesting. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, if some of the questions that Sister Emmanuel asked Maria is, what is purgatory? How do souls get there? Who decides if souls go to purgatory? What are the sins that most lead to purgatory? How can we help get a soul released from purgatory? Are there religions which are bad for the soul? Are there children in purgatory or suicide victims? And how can I avoid purgatory? All of those are answered in there. I'm not going to necessarily talk about them, but I do have to say, things like, I always thought whenever children die, they just go straight to heaven, which I mostly assume are like babies, like people, like babies who can't, like those lost in abortion, those who were stillborns, those who died of natural causes, like those ones, I truly believe go to heaven and become angels. But like, say a 5-year-old passed away, like I always did wonder, like, would they go straight to heaven? Because I'm like, I don't think they would have necessarily done anything terrible to get out of it, but like, what would happen to them? And there was a story in here, a real life account of a child who was, I think her and her sister got a doll, and both got a doll. Like, one got one and another one got another. The child who did pass away, doll had broke, and then switched it with her sister's. And when the sister died, that reflected on her, like, being like, oh, I lied. I like, stole something from my sister. And it was just interesting to see, like, even children have consciousness. And, if you're not religious, there are still, like, people have inward intuition and inward, like, everybody has morals. Everyone has, like, an interior voice saying, like, no to this, yes to this kind of thing. So it's just all interesting, and yeah, I found it really interesting. Like I said, I'm going to buy some copies for my sister, some for grandma, and for churches and stuff, just in case people want to read it. The next book I'm reading is The 3 Ordinary Voices of God. All I really know about this, besides it's written by Matthew Kelly, who has apparently wrote a lot of books about the spiritual, like, religious life. But it says in the back, it says, God hasn't stopped speaking. We've stopped listening, which I think is 100% true. But that doesn't mean we can't continue to listen, like, get back to listening and stuff. We just have to, like, not listen to all the extra voices around us. Not saying me personally, because my voices, like, when I say voices, I mean, like, more like, I don't know, like, my voices that I hear are my parts that are all they are all part of me, but yet different because of different trauma. But the voices I'm talking about are, like, exterior voices, like like devil talking to you, But God apparently speaks to us in 3 different ordinary voices: our needs, our talents, and our desires. Those are how He speaks to us the most. And then there's also some about other ones. But yeah, this is the book I'm reading next. Really enjoyed Secret of Purgatory. Not going to rate it just because it is a personal story of how someone went through this. But yeah, I found it interesting. If you guys want to read it, go ahead. Yeah, this is the second book I read this year. Read it in a week. Really, really enjoyed it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I usually say keep making fantasies come true one story at a time. And I will say this, like, as Lent's been going on, I have been inspired to write my own conversion story, write my own religious book. So, you know, I think that's really true of making fantasies come true, which I always wanted to write a picture book. I mean, not a picture book, but I always wanted to write my own conversion story, and this just inspired me to do it. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say. I hope you guys all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye!